Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Daniel Tahir and today we're going to hit the lungs basics. There are about 9 terms and 8 volumes that you need to know for your test. These are measured through a test called spirometry. However, spirometry cannot measure the residual volume directly. Let's get started. The first term is tidal volume. It's the volume of the air that goes in and goes out after every quiet inspiration and quiet expiration, respectively. The volume is 500 milliliters. So it basically means that the normal breathing that we're doing, it's the tidal volume. And here I'm going to show it graphically. Imagine that this is a beautiful hypothetical lung, and on top of it we are going to add the tidal volume. Okay, so this is the air that came in during inspiration, and this is the air that left during the expiration. Alright, so after we're done with tidal volume, we have the capability of adding more air to the system, and that air is called inspiratory reserved volume. So after the tidal volume, person does extra effort to bring in more air on top of the normal inspired air. That is tidal volume. It is done by exerting more efforts on inspiratory muscles and contracting those muscles. We can bring in more air to the pulmonary system, and it's called inspiratory reserved volume. So here I'm going to draw the lung, and I'm going to show the tidal volume by the black pen, and we can write tidal volume over here, and here this is inspiratory effort, the maximum inspiratory effort that a person can do, and it's called inspiratory reserved volume. So this is the maximum air a person can breathe in. So imagine your patient is a very nice guy and he listens to whatever he's told. He has maximum amount of air inside his system, and now we want him to blow the maximum amount of air that he can blow out, and that is called expiratory reserved volume. The person does extra effort to bring out more air on top of the normal expired air of tidal volume, and it's done by the squeezing of the chest harder, and I'll show you here. So again, this is the lung, this is the normal air that he breathes in and out, and it's called tidal volume. So now, so this was the air that he normally takes out of his system, but by contracting and trying really hard, he can take this air out as well. Okay, so this is the maximum amount of air that can be taken out of one system, and this is called expiratory reserve volume. So thank God we have residual volume. It's the air that will always be there, that will always left inside our lungs, no matter how hard we try, no matter how hard we squeeze our muscles. It cannot be taken out under any physiological condition. Alright, so the amount of air that's always inside the lungs and it can never be taken out is called residual volume, and it's evident from the name, it's the residual volume. Okay, so here's the lung, and it's the tidal volume that you're always taking in and out, and it's called tidal volume. Then you try really hard and take out all the air that you could possibly take out. Okay, we call it expiratory reserve volume, and still, thank God, there will be some air that is left inside our systems and this is called residual volume. So this is really important, and due to this our lungs do not collapse. So it's the residual volume. What's a capacity? Capacity comes when we're done with all the lung volumes. It's a term that we get after adding two or more than two lung volumes, and we call it a capacity. By now I believe that you have formed concepts of what the lung volumes are, so we can play this game. We can add different volumes and get a capacity, okay? So first is functional residual capacity. It's a sum of expiratory reserve volume with the residual volume. Expiratory reserve volume can be also called physiological residual volume because it's the air that we can take out. We can always manipulate the physiology and get desired results. The other is the residual volume. It's called true residual volume, and it's the air that can never be taken out of the pulmonary system. Okay, and I'm gonna show it graphically. It's the lung, it's the tidal volume. Okay, now you do the extra effort to take more air out of your system on top of the tidal volume, and we call it ERV, and this is the air that we cannot take out. So if we add ERV and residual volume, we get functional residual capacity. So it's the air that doesn't leave the system normally, and it's the functional residual capacity. It's a sum of residual volume and expiratory reserve volume, and this is the normal air that we breathe and in and breathe out. Vital capacity. Vital capacity is another capacity that we get by adding the tidal volume with inspiratory reserve volume and expiratory reserve volume. It's clinically important because it defines our patients, and it's the maximum. It's actually a range. It's a range of maximum air that a person can inspire, and a range of maximum air that that person can expire. And approximately it's around 4 to 4.5 liters. And again, it's clinically the most relevant capacity. So it's very easy. This was our lung, and this is the normal air that he was breathing. He is breathing actually. I hope he's alive. And it's the maximum amount of air that he can get in his system. It's called inspiratory reserve volume. This is tidal volume, and this is the maximum amount of air that he can get out of his system. So it's called expiratory reserve volume. So we can add these three things: IRV, TV, and ERV. So it's the amount of air that the person was getting in, and it's the amount of air that the person can get out, and it's called vital capacity. Well, the scientists have added two more volumes and call it a name: inspiratory capacity. It's the capacity of the maximum air that a person can inspire. So obviously inspiratory capacity will be a sum of tidal volume and inspiratory reserve volume. The lung, the normal tidal air in and out, and it's the maximum air. Okay, so this is IRV and this is the tidal volume. If we add these two things, we will get the inspiratory capacity. Okay, so it's the maximum amount of air that the person can inspire. Okay, so we have reached the final ninth term, and its total capacity, total lung capacity, is the sum of all the four volumes that we are playing with so long. The normal lung, the tidal volume, the inspiratory reserve volume, the expiratory reserve volume, and the residual volume. This we can take in and out. And inspiratory reserve volume is the amount of air that we can take in. If we add all of these things, we get total lung capacity. I promise this is the last slide, but sorry, it's the best thing we can do, and it's a great tool for revision, so let's get started. This is the normal air that the person is breathing, bringing air in and bringing air out. So we call it the tidal volume. Okay, now we've asked him to take the best breath of his life. So he's trying, and he maxed out here, and it's coming back. So the maximum amount of air that he can take in is called inspiratory reserve volume. Alright, so he has tried his best, and this is the maximum amount of air that he could take in. Now he has to try to take that air out. So he does it again. The best amount expiration of his life, and it's here. It's called expiratory reserve volume. So here, this is the range. Okay, so that was the maximum amount of air that he could take in, and this is the maximum amount of air that the patient can take out of his system, and that's called expiratory reserve volume. This shady area, it's a no-go zone, and it's called the residual volume. We cannot play with this. It's always going to stay with us. It's the best thing we've got. Okay, so now we're done with the volumes, the inspiratory reserve volume, tidal volume, and the residual volumes. So now we just have to add things and get the capacities. Okay, so this is the inspiratory zone, the inspiration till here, the IRV and TV, and we call it inspiratory capacity. Similarly, we can get a capacity in the expiratory zone by adding the residual volume, NERV, and we call it functional residual capacity. And in last, if we add all these things, that is IRV, TV, ERV, and RV, we can get the total lung capacity. Hope you enjoyed and learned the lungs volume. Thank you.